Chapter 2. Burn Those Clothes. Chris. Strathloughlin, Scotland. I was wholly unprepared for the new job. I had been through airborne, air assault, and ranger school. I went through the Q course and then Delta selection as a first-time go, but I was completely unprepared for the sheer humiliation of 3 months of Caledonia security selection. Nothing prepares you to get your ass proverbially and literally handed to you by a pixie of a woman. Leah McLaughlin, née Bonifacio, was a tiny shrew of a woman who walked around with a butterfly knife the way others might fidget with their keys. She sent us through the ringer with drills, tactics, hostage rescue, bodyguarding, and fucking legal bookwork. All the while, she berated us.
Awesome.
She clapped, the sarcasm evident in her posture and the raise of her brow.
Someone asked your client for an autograph and you tackled them to the ground. I'm sure that's going to go over well. Want to kick a sick kid in a wheelchair while you're at it? Really make sure that you end up a meme?
She cackled when a dozen trainees walked out, voluntarily dropping from the program.
If you can't handle me, then you can't handle our clients.
All of that made sense, theoretically, since Caledonia served the richest, most elite kind of clientele. Still, it was one thing to take a tongue lashing from a spoiled billionaire's kid, but to take it from our trainer? Some egos just can't handle that. She took a mean stance when it came to beating old habits out of us.
You're a fucking guard now. You're not in a combat zone. Your job is to catch a bullet and keep the peace.
She delighted in beating the ever-living fuck out of us. She had people coming in to play our enemy, our clients, and every possible scenario in between. She never lost an opportunity to jab at us. By the end of the first month, more than half the class had called it quits. When she got us down to a dozen, I felt good about my chances of being hired, until the final test was announced. Good old-fashioned hand-to-hand combat against the woman who had tormented me for months. I was ready, hell, we were all ready to give a bit of it back to her. But one by one, they all got creamed and tucked tail and left. In the end, I was the last one standing. I figured that I had nothing to lose, so I went in, head down, ready to tackle, maim, and beat her into submission, only to get turned on my ass, my jaw punched by knuckles that felt as hard as steel. You fucking bitch. I was practically shaking in hatred as I spat blood on the mat right across her bare foot.
Gross,
she said, shaking her foot to wipe off my spittle. I got up and asked for another try. I was unsteady on my feet and dizzy as fuck from the blow she landed on my head.
If you keep fighting me, I will kill you.
I had no doubt that she was telling the truth. I knew she could kill me if she wanted to, but it wasn't in my nature to quit, so I didn't. Best 2 out of 3? I brought my fists up to protect my face. She twisted, lunging and disappearing from view to re-emerge beside me. She smacked me on the back of the head and laughed.
Welcome to Caledonia Security. You're hired.
What the fuck? She ushered me into a side room where the rest of the staff waited, drinks in hand, laughing. The owner, Callum McLaughlin, signed me up right then and there, but warned me to never call his wife a bitch again. That wasn't my finest moment, I admitted. If that was all it took, I'd sing her praises until the end of time. Sorry. Leah smirked at my half-assed apology, crossing her arms in front of her.
Please, you've all been cursing my name for months.
She had no remorse. Caledonia was elite for a lot of reasons, not the least of which was their great rapport with multiple government agencies. They had a way of making problems disappear while keeping their clients breathing. The latter was the job, but the former was why they were paid the big bucks. On my first official day, I wore my best pressed suit. The big boss was the first one to see me, and he froze in place. "What on earth are you wearing?" Mr. McLaughlin looked at me like I had just bitten the head off a bat, Ozzy Osbourne style. I looked down at my suit, then back at him, confirming that this wasn't a nightmare where I walked into my first day with no pants. My shoes were shined and matched my belt. The suit was black, the shirt was white. Was the tie the problem? I thought it was a bit fancy with the plaid-looking navy and white stripes, but it wasn't garish or anything.
What's the problem here?
The mini-sadist Leah called from the other room. "Darlin'," Mr. Callum McLaughlin, or was it Baron McLaughlin? I had no idea what to call the man, looked over his shoulder. "Your compatriot is not done with his training." I heard a chair shuffle, and Leah appeared at her husband's side. She took one look at me, and her head fell forward.
Jesus.
She rolled her eyes, backhanding her husband on the chest.
You can close your mouth. It's not that bad, you snob.
Damn. Other than "you're hired," that was the nicest thing she'd ever said to me. She grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the central hall into an office. A wooden plank on the door had my name emblazoned on it, so I guessed it was my new home away from home. She slammed the door shut with a kick of her black leather boot and pushed me into the chair behind the desk. The seat rolled with the impact of my weight, and she started opening up the drawers, searching for something.
These fucking rich people.
She grumbled until she found a piece of paper and pen. She slammed them in front of me.
Take notes.
I pulled off the gold-colored cap from the fancy pen. Caledonia Security and the office phone number were laser printed on the side.
First, you need to change how you dress.
She took the seat across from me and crossed her legs, an ankle on her knee.
That outfit makes you look poor.
I looked down at my black suit and inspected the tie. Huh? I examined the lapels as if it said Juicy Couture.
You bought it at the mall?
She raised a pencil-thin brow. Well, yeah, there was this tailor.
Yeah, you'll need to stop that. The mall is for poor people.
She looked at the door as if she could see beyond it to the posh Europeans on the other side.
Working class, even white collar, is considered poor for our clients. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb wearing those clothes. You'll look less like our client's entourage and more like a fan.
What she was saying made perfect sense. It really did when you took a look at the dignitaries that populated the client list. It still stung, though. I had picked out these clothes because I thought they looked good. It wasn't like they were on the clearance rack.
Write this down.
She listed off a ton of names. I vaguely knew they were designers, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. I just wrote them down anyway and was too scared to ask how to spell them.
Your tie is too narrow. Your shoes need to be leather, not that plastic fake gloss stuff. Shine them, old school, with polish and a rag. You match your outfit to the formality of the client, so get comfortable wearing $200 t-shirts.
Had I been drinking water, I would have spat it out my nose. There was no way she said that. Either she misspoke or my hearing was starting to go. Being too close to one too many explosives could do that to a man. Say again?
You heard it right. $200 t-shirts.
She winced. For once, she looked apologetic. I was amazed, since I didn't think that was in her repertoire of emotions.
Did you grow up in the suburbs?
The question surprised me so much that the words took a second to register. I mean, yeah, I did.
It's a rhetorical question. You're like me.
She leaned forward and brought both her feet to the ground. Her elbows rested on her knees.
We did a full background check on you. Your parents moved into the neighborhood because it had a good public school system. It was a dual-income household. You went to a prom and got your outfit from the mall. It probably looked a little bit like what you're wearing now. You may have even splurged and gotten a limo with your date and a few friends.
She was hitting the nail right on the head. Even though she said she had the same background, she was still a fucking baroness. She may have gone to a mall once, but I had a hunch that she now employed personal shoppers that brought clothes to her mansion, or castle, or whatever. They probably even had models do a private catwalk. Was that something rich people still did? I wasn't sure. I had seen it in an old movie once. Maybe it was when my sister and I watched Gigi starring Leslie Caron. I hated how fuzzy my memories were getting. I tuned back into what she was saying, just in time to hear.
But we play in a different stratosphere, and we have to change to match, even me.
I looked at her skeptically. She was a baron's wife, and while information on her was sparse, there was nothing about her that screamed rags to riches.
You're going to be shepherding around some of the richest and most famous people in the world.
She suddenly got a little quiet, changing the tone of the conversation to one of instruction and counsel.
We dress like them, and to some degree, we eat and act like them, too. We blend into the local population, except the local population are the 1%ers. Remember that for all the glitz and glamour that we rub elbows with, we're not one of them.
I wondered where this advice was coming from. Was it from lessons she had learned? Or did I just look like the social climbing type? If the first, then I felt sorry for her and the Baron. If the latter, then she had misread me.
And for fuck's sake, don't go on duty and start using your associations to get you laid in the bar.
She pushed herself up with the armrests of the chair. I snorted. Don't worry, it's not really my style. She returned with a skeptical snort of her own.
Really? What are you, the only celibate Delta guy in existence?
That has generally been my experience, yes. I deadpanned, trying not to react to her raised brow.
Sure, bro.
She rolled her eyes.
I'll believe it when I see it. Go buy new clothes and come back tomorrow morning.
Using company time to go shopping. This was a pretty sweet gig. Holy fuck. My car didn't cost as much as the clothes I had bought. Clothes. It burned through half my signing bonus. I came in with a new suit, and the Baron looked me up and down. He did that weird, frowny smile and said, "Burn what you wore yesterday. I wouldn't wish that on the thrift stores." Was he out of touch or sarcastic as fuck? I wasn't sure. I passed him without a word and went to my assigned office. I finally took the time to feel the seat under my ass and ran my hands over the hardwood office desk. It was far nicer than anything I'd had in the army. I was leveling up, but shit, I felt a bit like a charity case, like I was the token poor guy in a room of millionaires. I checked my phone. One missed call. I clicked the button to redial and heard a high-pitched, audible squeal as soon as it connected.
I got in.
My sister said without preamble. What? My heart leapt to my throat as complicated feelings came to the surface. You're kidding. You got the big envelope?
Yes, they accepted me. I can't believe it. Oh!
I could almost see her dancing on the other end. A little happy dance she had done since she was a toddler. Congratulations, Elise, you deserve it. And she did. She deserved this chance. Juilliard, Jesus, that's amazing. There was a wistful sigh on the other end. Then she cleared her throat.
It's okay, right? I know you wanted...
It's not about me, I said in mock sternness. Just because I had to change my dreams doesn't mean you don't deserve to have yours.
Really?
Really, really. I swallowed the bitterness down, staring at the palm of my right hand. The jagged, long cuts were forever marked across my skin, disfiguring the lifeline. I could still feel the tug of stitches even now, 5 years after the fact. Long ago, I had dreams. The army was a stepping stone. Then it was gone. What were you gonna do, not be a musician because I can't be one? That's crazy talk.
And the tuition?
Christ, I knew it was killing her to ask. I put her out of her misery. I got the job. I heard another squeal from her. We can sell Mom and Dad's house and get you a tiny place in New York. You might need roommates until you're big and famous, but we'll make it work.
I love you, Chris.
I knew she was wiping a tear from her eye. My little sister was prone to fits of extreme emotion. Not tantrums, but extreme and overwhelming joy, sweetness, and happy tears. Just one after the other in a rolling high of feeling.
Things are really happening for us.
They sure are, kiddo, I whispered as we said our goodbyes. Problem was, I had no fucking idea what my job really was, other than the bodyguarding part. That was the easy bit, but outside of that, my only experience was getting my ass kicked by the owner's wife, and she was the most approachable of the crew. I was about to look for Leah when a man walked in. His shiny black hair was slicked back, and his dark eyes darted around the room as he knocked on the doorframe. He wore a navy suit with the slightest plaid pattern. His burgundy tie was held with a gold pin that had a stylized letter I. He peered into my open door, and I immediately came to attention. Hello, I'm Christopher Ambrose. Chris, I'm new here. The man raised a brow. His head tilted as his eyes raked my body with a judgment that made me uneasy. Jesus, did he hate my clothes too? His eyes stopped at my shoes. Yep, he was judging my outfit. He pursed his lips with a nod, as if he approved of what he saw, then looked over his shoulder before turning back to me. I'm Jareth Barkada, he said with a posh British accent. His name sounded familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. His deep, smooth tan made me wonder if he was one of those lesser-known royals, aka not the British, but maybe he was a Thai prince or something. I wasn't sure. He was most definitely a client and not an employee type. I'm looking for Callum. He looked over his shoulder, his almond-shaped eyes darting from closed door to closed door. His office was locked. Is he at work today or on assignment? I can talk to George Campbell instead if he's available. Do you have an appointment? I have no idea why I asked. I wouldn't have the first clue on where to find the appointment book. No, just dropping in, I'm afraid. He threw out his arm so that the sleeve of his wrist rode up to reveal a blue-faced Rolex watch. Of course. I don't know why I said that either, but I definitely felt like the butler in one of those fancy BBC shows. I came around the desk as he turned his body to let me slip past him. Let me just see if he's in Mrs. McLaughlin's office. I glanced up and down the small central conference area and almost sighed with relief when I saw Leah's door was ajar. That definitely meant she was in, so I went over and knocked. Ma'am? I asked tentatively as I pushed the door open.
Leah?
She corrected, and I could hear the eye roll. She twirled a butterfly knife in her hand, the metal scraping together as the blade flew. It was a habit she had. She didn't fidget. She just opened and closed that butterfly knife in a round, sweeping rhythm over and over again. Someone's looking for Callum. A high-back chair in front of her swung around, and her husband's red-headed mane poked up. I'm right here, just trying to spend some quality time with my wife. The Baron smirked up at me. Having twins at home means I rarely see her, so I figured I'd work in here to stare at her lovely face through my workday.
Fucking creep.
She grumbled, though she couldn't hide the smile that tugged at her plump lips. Callum, The man I had escorted there brushed past me, his arms out as the two embraced like old friends.
Good to see you. Where's Geordie? Handling something in Greece? You just missed him. What can I do for you, Jared?
Without invitation, the newcomer took the other seat on this side of the table as Leah looked at him like he was some kind of bomb ready to explode.
This is my wife,
Callum said, turning slightly in the chair so that all three of them were staring at each other. I wanted to leave. I wanted to slowly back out like Homer Simpson into a hedge, but I hadn't really been dismissed, so I wasn't sure if that would be seen as rude. I was scared of breaking some ridiculous social norm and attracting the ire of my bosses. Filipino? Jareth asked of Leah. Apparently, that one word was a question in itself.
Ah.
She smiled, probably the first real, genuine smile I had ever seen.
Marunong ka ba mag-Tagalog?
I do. He stood up and rounded the table, and the two embraced like old friends as well. Whatever she had said apparently made them the best of friends.
But for the sake of Callum, who looks like he's about to punch me in the face, I think I'll stick to English.
Jareth chuckled as he went back to his seat. I took a look at the Baron of Strathloughlin, who was indeed staring daggers at his friend.
No harm meant, old man, though it's funny to see you so protective. You were never this way with Pippa.
He leaned an elbow on the armrest, bringing a pensive hand to his chin.
Pippa was...
The Baron started, but his wife cut him off.
Don't you dare say anything mean about her.
Callum wiped his large palm over his face in agitation.
They're now the best of friends.
Oh? Jareth almost laughed.
Your ex-fiancé is close with your wife. You must have truly been awful in a past life. They're very open about taking each other's side during arguments,
Callum grumbled.
But enough about the state of my marriage. What can I do for you, Jareth? We're not close enough for this to be a social visit.
Jareth placed a theatrical hand over his chest and pretended to be offended, but it was obvious he was anything but.
I'm wounded. I thought chocolate was thicker than blood.
I had no idea what that meant, but it made Callum sit up.
Aye, it is thicker than blood. Are you in trouble? Not me. When we were in St. Michael's, I told you that I had younger siblings, yes? Aye, the famous Barkadas. You've all made quite a way for yourselves since y'all adopted the same last name.
Indeed.
Barkadas are the Kardashians, but without the sex tapes.
Jareth looked incredibly proud of that fact.
A track record we intend to keep. Or else my siblings will end up in an ironclad conservatorship and be sent to a nunnery or monastery until I choose to forgive them.
I had a hunch that he was only half kidding. I had actually seen that comparison in a headline. Families were trying to keep up with the Barkadas. One of them was a famous pop star. Another was an MMA champion. The other was a musical genius and composer like this generation's John Williams.
You've never been a forgiving type,
Callum chuckled.
True.
None of this involved me, so I took a tentative step back. If I took enough, then I'd be out of sight and they'd forget I was even there.
So, which of your siblings are you here to see me about?
Another step. I was almost out of the doorway.
Justiny, the youngest,
Jareth said.
She's in America, recording her next album in LA, but we've seen some...
Don't sneak out, Ambrose.
Leah's voice froze me in place.
Christopher Ambrose is our new American member, and the one with the requisite permits to start immediately. My brother and I will join once we know our concealed carry permits are in order. You can trust him.
Shit.
If you're interested in hearing more audiobooks, don't forget to like and subscribe to Molly Breyer.